Commander, I want you to strike at the light button. The YouTube shadow banning unit army have too many tampon crossings across the river. Destroying the dam will sweep them away, sweep all these tampon crossings away. Commander, I believe you can do the job. Strike at the light button dam.
Young men in Ukraine just getting blown to pieces. I mean, Russians, Ukrainians.
And didn't want to join NATO. Would they be aware?
All right, we're going to start talking about what
Pakistan enters in a military alliance with China.
Wind's not a sustainable resource.
Oh,
we decided to do a coup. Look what NATO did to Libya.
There actually was a lot of CIA things that happened. Yeah,
to be honest, I'd rather have America as top dog than China.
They're unimaginable to use in the conflict. It would just let the genie out of the bottle in so many ways.
We are now inside of this Ukraine conflict.
Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 204 for the 15th of September. So let's start off with Russian statement. So the Russian the Foreign Ministry of the Russian Federation have warned the United States that if they decided to supply Ukraine with longer range missiles, particularly referring to the 300 kilometers missiles, then they will be crossing the red line and become a direct party to the conflict. So the Russians is now threatening United States against sending even more advanced weaponry to Ukraine. So there's also information coming out from Crimea. In Crimea, the head of Crimea has responded to Kadyrov's call to gather 85,000 volunteers from the entire of Russia, and Crimea has decided to form 2 more battalions. This is on top of the 1,200 troops that they had already deployed in Ukraine. So the head of Crimea, Kaisionov, say that they will fully provide them with equipment, means of protection, communications, and intelligence. And the process is underway, and they are trying to ensure that everyone leaves fully equipped. So this comes as a result of the statement from the Chechnya leader, Kadyrov, where they are calling for 85,000 volunteers from 85 regions of Russia. So this is actually, pretty clever if you ask me, because 85 subjects of the Russian Federation, each region just need to find 1,000 volunteers, and that will actually make up 85,000 troops. And 85,000 troops under the way how the Russians have been operating, these volunteers will be fully trained, fully equipped, and sending them to the front line. 85,000 would mean 85,000 professionally trained troops. That would be quite significant in the war effort for the Russian side. And should they do this once every 3 months, the number of Russian troops will bloat significantly. So this is one of these very major developments, if you ask me. And coming to missile strikes, the Russian strike another dam. This time around, this dam is at Iskrivka from the Kirovograd region, and it's still on the Inhuletsk River. So it is actually this dam, and this is the dam that they hit, and apparently is along the same river to this dam that was actually hit the day before, and this is likely to cause further problems with flooding across the Inhuletsk River, and this is likely to disrupt communications and resupply for the entire region around Kryvyi. And so far, the Kryvyi city itself has been flooded pretty badly, and with this continued flooding means that Ukrainian reinforcement will not be able to go through this area of Kryvyi, and they will be forced to go via the northern route from Kropyvnytskyi to Alexandria, and then in the northern route to Dnipro. The entire southern side will be heavily disrupted due to the destruction of these dams and the subsequent flooding or the widening of the river over the entire southern front from Kryvyi city. So moving on to the southern front. In the southern front, we have a confirmation from the pro-Ukrainian source, Deep State UA, which corroborates the information coming out from the pro-Russian source Ryba that Blahodatne over here, just on the southeast of Zaporizhzhia, is actually under Russian control. So this corroboration actually clear up the information here, and so now we have a clearer idea of this front line here at the Zaporizhzhia region. There is no ground offensive being launched in the Mykolaiv region, and the only thing in the Mykolaiv front is that the Ukrainians have launched a lot of missiles towards Novovoznesenske. So in the attempt to either break the dam or trying to destroy the crossing or somewhat. So far, no notable results was reported as far as I can tell. So moving on to the Davydiv Brid Front. So the Davydiv Brid Front, I have been looking at this, this shape, and it looks like a skull to me. This is the skull, the lower jaw, and this is the neck. Yeah, it looks very like some of the patches on the Ukrainian troops. So anyway, we previously reported because of the dam destruction, many of the bridges and crossings has been swept away, and I suspect that the pontoon crossings and whatever crossings that the Ukrainians are using in this region are also heavily affected, because a heli-evac was actually ordered over at the Andriivka region here, where the helicopter is actually landed in the Andriivka sector to evacuate wounded and killed from the vicinity over here. And this is actually pretty unusual, because usually you would not want to use helicopter to do evacuations if you have actually ground vehicles, which means that this is likely to be a result of the crossing over here getting swept away, or being dislodged due to the widening of the river and the increased water flow. So it does seem that the bursting of the dam does actually cause some operational challenge for the Ukrainian side. However, the Ukrainians are not deterred, as reinforcement is actually reported at Bilohirka, where additional platoon is actually sent over here with ATGMs, anti-tank guided missiles, and the Ukrainians launched a small group offensive. So they use small groups to raid the rear of Davydiv Brid village or town. So the Davydiv Brid front, the front line is actually facing the river. So the Ukrainians are actually launching assaults from the rear, attacking and trying to and perhaps even encircle the Russian forces around here. There is also reported fighting over at the Bruskynske region here, as the Ukrainians are sent recon troops to find where are the lines. There is also in the same report saying that the Ukrainian forces is actually sent towards the Kostyrka direction. However, Kostyrka under our mapping is under Ukrainian control, so it's unclear where does these troops actually head towards to. We do have information that Ukrainians troops actually move all the way to Chechnya, which actually went there unimpeded. They were not attacked, and which means that Chechnya is definitely still under Ukrainian control. So this is significant in the sense that the Russian forces over at Bruskynske and Davydiv Brid is actually the active threat to this entire bridgehead. So once the Ukrainians are able to clear out the forces around here, they would actually secure the rear here, so that they will not be actually cut off at a river crossing region and cause an encirclement. So with the securing of these two towns, they'll be able to have a good foundation to head towards their target of Vesela. So tentatively, it remains to be seen whether they can actually manage that. Over at the Kryvyi Front, the Ukrainians launched a twin attack, in a sense, where the forces split into two, attacking Novopetrivka and Kostyrka over here. So the forces is launched from Potomkaine, and while this is happening, the Ukrainians actually launched an attack at Olhyne. So this looks like some kind of a pincer of sorts, where they can actually, if successful, they can actually encircle the entire Russian forces that is actually besieging Visokopilya in the southern side. So even with this, this movement here, it does seem that the Russian troops here are actually in a very precarious situation. The town of Novovoznesenske is also attacked by the Ukrainian forces by 2 infantry companies with support of a tank company. Tentatively, based on the preliminary information that we get, none of this operation had yield significant success, but this just shows that the Kherson offensive is still ongoing and is still, present a active threat against the Russian forces. As far as we can tell based on this situation, the Russians are still on the back foot. They are on the defensive against the Ukrainian Kherson offensive. So moving on to the Zaporizhzhia Line, we have no updates from the Zaporizhzhia Line. And moving on to Donetsk Front. At the Donetsk Front, we have fighting reported at Novomyhailivka, according to information from the Ukraine Defense Ministry. There is a footage coming out from a drone footage of Russian forces, or actually Donetsk People's Republic forces, taking over this tree line here. In the updated world, there is actually an entrenchment around this area, and the militias actually took over this line. They call it the first line of defense in the east of Krasnohorivka, which is actually this town or city around here. But as far as our reporting is concerned, is merely fighting at this location. So moving on to the Pisky region, we have reported fighting near Pisky, according to Intel Slava, the pro-Russian source. And there is fighting reported at Avdiivka, according to the Ukraine Defense Ministry. However, Avdiivka is pretty big. It's unclear whether the fighting comes from Kayamkar direction or coming from the Minerani direction. And that's all from the Donetsk Front. Moving on to the Bakhmut Front, where the main Russian push is. There is an official announcement from the Donetsk People's Republic that they have captured Mayorsk. So Mayorsk, we have previously already mentioned that this is captured by the Russian forces, but it looks like maybe perhaps the fighting has subsided, or the secure perimeter is much bigger now. That's why the Donetsk People's Republic National Militia Headquarters has confirmed the capture of Mayorsk. The fighting continues over at Odradivka, Zaporizhzhia, as well as at Vesela Dolyna. There's also fighting reported at Bakhmut. All this information is coming from the Ukraine Defense Ministry, and that's all from the Bakhmut Front. Moving on to the Sievers Front, the Russians continue their offensive at Sperne. However, the Ukrainians do also launch their offensive, or some kind of attempt to fight and move the front forward at Ivano-Darivka. The fighting is also reported at Verkhnokanyamske, as well as at Bilohirka here. So according to the head of the Luhansk People's Republic, Peshenik, he said that the Ukrainians attempted to attack along the entire front, but currently they were repelled. So all around here. And that's all from the Sievers Front. At the Sloviansk Front, the Ukrainians continue their assault in their Great Liman offensive. Fighting is reported at Dibrova, and Ukrainian forces have captured Shushrovye, as the forces from Shushrovye actually move towards Liman in the forested area, and they got engaged by the Ukrainian forces by artillery strike, but it looks like the offensive, for Liman is still ongoing, and this is going to last for quite some time. Moving to the northern side of the Sloviansk front, the Ukrainian forces have crossed the river here at the Seversky Donetsk River, and they managed to capture Sosnove. So, as a result of this development, the Russian forces has reportedly redrawing from Studenok to avoid getting encircled from Oskil, according to the pro-Russian source, as the Oskil town is likely to be under Ukrainian control, as the Russians have crossed the river and defend from the other side, from the eastern side of the river. So currently this information is not confirmed, but is actually reported by both the pro-Ukrainian source, Deep State UA, and as well as by Ryba. We will see where the Russians might want to withdraw to, because it is not a good idea to withdraw for too far. Because if the Ukrainians are able to reach Oleksandrivka or even Kryvyi or Novovoznesenske, they will be able to go to Shandriholive and actually just spread out and have another Kharkiv-like success. So that's all from the Sloviansk front. We have no updates over at the Oskil front. So, and that's all we have from the, I think that's all, right? Yeah, that's all we have from the day of 204, 15th of September, from the Russo-Ukraine war, or the Ukraine war, or the Russian invasion or Russian special military operation in Ukraine. So that's all. And do check out the yesterday's open mic, the third open mic, which is actually open to all YouTube viewers. Yesterday it was a brilliant session. It was a beautiful show of the cross section of the viewers at DPA. We have all sort of view, all perspective, all standpoints, and it was a really enjoyable and fun watch. It's 3 hours long, so I believe some of you guys may love this kind of long form discussion, and I can promise you will enjoy it. So anyway, this is the summary, and I'll see you in the next update.